Hey, and welcome to DanPlays for a game that's finally not Final Fantasy VII. This, of course, is going way back to the early days of the NES. Wild Gunman, one of the, I believe, first three games that used the NES Zapper light gun. And personally, I think one of my favorites, if not my overall favorite of the Zapper games for the NES, certainly the first party ones. I mean, Duck Hunt is obviously iconic, but I like this one. Certainly the Western theme was something you didn't see a whole lot of on the NES. There was, of course, Gunsmoke from Capcom. There was there's the jingle. There was Cowboy Kid, which was a late release, fairly rare game, which I do have. Cowboy Kid, which was essentially an American, well, I think it was still made by a Japanese studio, but an American themed Genbari Goemon game. Um, there was the Lone Ranger, which I actually don't have and I've never played, but that was from Konami. And I can't really think of any other Western games other than this one. Um, but yeah, 1984. That being said, believe it or not, if you're not already aware of this, this is actually technically a remake because in the mid 70s, I think 1974, so 10 years before the NES game, uh, Nintendo had made an electromechanical arcade game, also called Wild Gunman, which was the same idea. It was a quick draw game, but it used actual movie footage, so you'd have like an actual film clip, live action of a a cowboy, cattle rustler, whatever. And basically, when his eyes flashed, that was your cue to shoot. And I believe it had two projectors, so it would actually know if you successfully shot first or not, and would play like it would switch to the other projector, so it would either show your opponent, the cowboy, falling over, or it would show him shooting you. So it had, different outcomes. But that's a very rare arcade game. I don't believe there are any fully functional examples of it left. It almost essentially lost media. I believe I've heard that there are like a few circuit boards from it that are still around. But the film from it is actually apparently even more rare than the mechanical parts. I've personally only ever seen like a few clips of the movie footage in documentaries and things like that, but it seems to be overall lost. I would guess probably Nintendo has like the master footage in their vault or warehouse or wherever they keep that kind of stuff. But for all intents and purposes, the original 1970s electromechanical Wild Gunman is apparently basically lost media. So yeah, this is kind of what we have. Now, of course, you probably remember this from the arcade cabinet in Back to the Future Part 2, where the kids in the retro cafe in the future, which of course was 2015, so over 10 years in the past, does Back to the Future now take place, the one where he goes to the future. Um, but of course, that was not the original arcade version of Wild Gunman. That was actually, I assume it was just an NES and a TV and a fake arcade cabinet. I don't think they even used like a Play Choice 10 or anything like that for the movie. I believe they just mocked up a an arcade cabinet and literally just put a TV with the NES game in it. Um, but yeah, again, I think this is my favorite. It follows basically the same format as Hogan's Alley and Duck Hunt, the other early Zapper games, and that there's three game modes. You have one outlaw, two outlaws, which of course has the catch that sometimes one shoots and the other doesn't, and you get penalized if you shoot the one that doesn't shoot at you. Um, and then there's the gang mode, which is basically like a shooting gallery where you have a saloon scene and guys pop up in the windows and the doorway and such. And again, kind of the same thing with Duck Hunt, where it had one duck, two ducks, and then the third mode was different. That was the clay pigeons. Um, Hogan's Alley had game A was the sort of gun range. Game B was the actual Hogan's Alley, the like mock-up alley with the cutout people popping up, the cutout figures popping up, and then Game C was again different. That was what was the one at Hogan's Alley? I think it was just called trick shooting. I think that was the one that had the can that you had to shoot to keep it bouncing in the air. Um, But yeah, this is kind of again the same format where you have one opponent, two opponents, and then a different game mode for the third. But anyway, let's get into it. And I'm trying my Zapper on my junk pile TV. Which I haven't done before. This is actually my first Zapper, which came with my NES. So my NES was a little bit of a later release, and I got the orange Zapper. The original Zapper was gray, and I guess even though it's clearly a sci-fi style gun, they decided it still looked too much like a real gun. So they changed it to orange for later versions of the NES. I actually do have at least one, and I think actually two gray Zappers somewhere around here, but we'll use the orange one since I have it handy. Incidentally, if you get the, I don't think it was even called the Zapper, but the light gun for the Japanese Famicom, which was like the same guts as the American Zapper, but it literally just looks like a Colt revolver. It looks like it literally does look like a real gun. Um, so yeah. Anyway, I guess that's a little more appropriate to this game or even Hogan's Alley. But yeah, my thought was we'll kind of go through like at least one round of each game mode and just kind of, check out the whole thing. Um, I will mention I'm getting a little sort of interference on my NES, which I think is something to do with the power supply, so I may need to work on that. I do have a box in the basement that has four other NES consoles in it that all need to be restored in various ways, mostly cosmetically, as far as I know. Um, so I'll work on those maybe in a few weeks when I'm off for a week and, have one of them swapped out for now. But yeah, I may need to like recap the power supply or something like that, which will require learning how to do that. So yeah, it's fine. It just has a little bit of like wavy line interference. But anyway, we'll do one outlaw first. There we go. All right, Black Bart. Now you get yours. Obviously, they get faster and faster. You may also recall in Kirby's Adventure, it didn't use the Zapper, obviously, but Kirby's Adventure did have the quick draw mini game that I think was pretty clearly inspired by this. And it is funny, they have different animations. Like the first guy gets blown backwards, this guy's pants fall down, there's another guy whose hat flies off. So you get a little comedy variety in what happens with the enemies. Railroad guy kind of reminds me of who was the uh, who was the sombrero guy in Sunset Riders? Cormano. How could I forget Cormano? The other guys all had generic names. It's like Billy and Jim, and but you knew Cormano had to be a badass because who else would rock through the Wild West in a bright magenta sombrero and poncho, right? Going straight to the Wild Wild West. Yeah, it should have had a like a bow. Obviously, well, TV series was, way in the past when this game came out. That was in the '60s, but the Will Smith version of Wild Wild West, they should have had a giant mechanical spider bonus round. Yeah, doing pretty good so far. Obviously, they get faster and faster. I don't think there's like maybe it just goes to like wave 99. Maybe it just uh, ends then. I don't know if there's a kill screen or what. But, oh, got me. You get the Chopin funeral march or the Undertaker's theme if you prefer. Not that time. The damsel that's in distress will be out of that dress when she meets Jim West. Yeah, I always liked it. Like I played this standing up, and I actually, I keep the gun on my like kind of keep the gun down at my side until you get fire, and try to do like a legit quick draw. I'm kind of doing it this way this time, but we have to give them a fighting chance, right? While you're pride, don't let your lip react. You don't want to see my hand where my hip be at. I always kind of felt bad for this guy. Like even he doesn't want to be here. At least his, nothing too bad happens to him. At least his pants just fall down. You again. You're a slippery one. I almost like in Kirby's Adventure, the bonus game in that, if you shoot early, you get penalized. Also, up slow. Yeah, they're starting to get faster now. All right, I think I have one life left. I don't know if you get extra lives with this. I forget. I like the idea that there's just like this endless line of guys waiting to fight me here. And who's dragging them off afterwards? I think the points are, I think, randomized. The reward money for each guy. He's slow. Yep, that's it. Yeah, so again, I forget if you get extra lives for any certain scores or anything. Alright, let's try two outlaws. Again, this gets tricky because sometimes after the first, however many rounds, sometimes you'll start to get ones where only one will say fire. And if you shoot the one that doesn't, you get penalized. And actually, you should also be keeping in mind, especially in this mode, the other mode too, first mode, but especially when you have two outlaws, where it says gunman at the top, that will show you which one is going to fire first. So you want to aim for, like, if one is going to shoot way before another one, you want to shoot, obviously, that one first, because you'll have more time to get the other guy. This is a fun game. I always like this one. And again, I would say it's probably, oh, see, I shot the guy that was going to shoot first, but he didn't say fire. Pretty tricky. Pretty sneaky, sis. Oh, I missed. I missed Cormano there. Getting a foul is basically just the same as losing a life. It just gets taken off of your life counter. real deadeye, ain't he? I missed again. Ah, that's it. Maybe we'll do 2 rounds for each mode. Like, just see if I can beat the previous score that I set. So this is just under 200K. So that's all right, I guess. I don't know if it's all right or not. I haven't played this in years. All right, so let's try gang mode here. Again, this is just a shooting gallery. Basically, you do have a limited number of bullets in this mode. And of course, in this mode, it doesn't tell you who's going to shoot first or anything, even though they're appearing like 2 at a time. I think the bullets get refilled at the end of each round. Ah, ah. Yeah, I did shoot, I just missed them. Targeting definitely still works down there. Yeah. In this mode, the sombrero guy's sombrero flies up and never flies back down, like in the other modes. There's some of the other, like the hat guy and the pants fall down guy, if they appear in the windows, they just get like the same falling backwards animation as the first. They actually turn into the first guy when they fly backwards. The hat flies off guy. He does have his hat fly off if he shows up in the door. I don't know if the pants fall down guy shows up in the door or not. I don't think he has yet. Ah. Older starting to get tired. Don't get old, kids. Never had that issue before. I guess I haven't played this in a number of years. Yeah, yeah, they're getting fast now. So I think that's it. So yeah, let's give each round another pass. See if we can beat the previous high score in each of them. All right. So back to one. So that was what 120, 140. I think it was 140 was the high score last time. Garbage day. Uh, Usually seem to be getting around that point 50, that 25-second mark. Eventually, they're going to start getting faster than that. So, closing in on at least tying the last score, as he is guy's point 40. Yeah, well, 0.90, we should be able to get this guy. Still 2 lives left. That's we should be able to beat the last score. Ooh, 0.35. That's pretty pretty good on my end. I mean, I guess part of it was that I was holding it out that time instead of, actually doing the fair quick draw, but yes, I think I've cleared my last score. Something. Doing good on this round. or this this play. Still have two lives left. We're up to wave 25 here. You know what would have been funny is if they had his hat land on the cactus in the background. I think they could have. I think they could have done that at that time. They would have just had to stop it on like the top of the cactus or one of the arms of the cactus even. Yeah, that would have been funny. I'm guessing you don't get any extra lives in this. I could be wrong still, but we haven't yet, unless it's like at 500,000 points or something. But yeah, I'm thinking it's probably just the three lives you start with, and that's it. That one was kind of close. It was like 0.04 seconds before he fired. Pretty sure we've doubled my last score though. All right. Ooh, 0.28. I think that was my fastest shot. Yeah. 5.05 this time. Got him. See if we can get to wave 50. I have two lives left, so we can. But you gotta use your hands. That's like a baby's toy. I can't believe I didn't do that line yet, even after mentioning Back to the Future too. Yeah, I think this is the oldest game I've done so far on DanPlays. At some point, I do have to figure out how to. I think I just need to get like a coaxial adapter, run it through one more adapter, get it to work. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure it can be done. There's videos of Atari games from other people. Um, so yeah, I'll have to do some Atari and then television sometime once I figure out how. I think that last guy usually has slowest draw times. The guy whose hat flies off might be like the second slowest usually. Then that last round, the pants fall down guy, he back up to a full second to draw. All right, so we passed wave 50. Still going with the same two lives. Switch hands for a second here. It's probably a bad idea. Still got him. Slow. No, that was bound to happen soon, right? Should just take one more win to bypass 500,000 points. After that time. Yeah, there it is. 500k. Aim sideways. Still registered. I think this is the only guy who has a full sideways walking animation, isn't he? The other guys all like sidle up. They all crab walk into the scene. Wonder why they only have the one guy actually walk normally. Ah! Oh, that guy got me. Revenge for beating the buckle off his pants all those times, I guess. Alright, so that was a good run. Wave 57, 527,700 points. I think that's pretty good, right? Let's try two outlaws again. This will probably go faster because the thing that actually gets me in this even more than just missing the shot or being too slow, it's actually even more so uh, when they start getting tricky when like one guy won't say fire, so you actually get penalized if you shoot that one. Ah, I just missed that. No other excuse. I just missed. Uh, I saw that. Oh, missed that guy too. I think I actually did better the first time on this mode. And I'm already down to my last life here. Uh, oh, oh, I got saved because I missed. I actually tried to shoot the guy on the right, which I would have been penalized and would have gotten game over. But I actually missed that shot. I got the other guy, so yes. All right, yeah, let's do gang mode one more time. I think I actually did better the first time on two outlaws mode. Um, we'll check, and I'm pretty sure that lower than my first score. Yeah, yeah, that was actually almost 200K. Um, yeah, way higher on one outlaw mode second time. All right, so let's do gang mode one more time, and then we'll call it. So way shorter episode than however long it took total to get through Final Fantasy VII, right? Ah, don't know why I missed that guy twice. And my last bullet too. Mm. Yeah, again, in this mode, they don't show you how fast anybody draws, but it kind of, I think it still kind of goes, um, like the general quickness that each guy has still carries through. So, the pants guy, I think, is still the slowest to draw. The pants guy doesn't even look like he's, opening the window intending to shoot. He's hey, what's going on out here? Ah! There's not a perfect bonus in this like there is in Duck Hunt if you don't miss any shots. Is that my last life? Oh no. I used that guy to cone a phrase. Too slow. So yeah, that's it. That was my last life. All right, I think that's good for now. So yeah, that's Wild Gunman. This was again, this was always my favorite of the like the big Zapper games, the first party ones like Duck Hunt and Hogan's Valley, and this and Gumshoe, I guess, were the black box titles. Gumshoe's cool. It's very unique because that one it's actually like a side scroller, but instead of using the controller to jump, you have to like shoot under the guy's feet to make him jump. It's a cool idea. It's different. And Duck Hunt's iconic. Hogan's Alley is a great game as well. But yeah, this was my favorite of them. Yeah, again, probably part of it's just the theme and the setting and all of that. But yeah, I always like this a lot. You know, it is one of those kind of pure gaming things. Like, you know, 'cause at a certain point, there's not really a thought process. It's all reaction. It's free zen in a way. It's like some games are like that, and you don't see a lot of games like that nowadays. Just because you know everything's more complex. But especially in early gaming, there were a lot of like Twitch games where it was like just fast reflexes and no real thought, uh, which is refreshing sometimes. So yeah, I think of like you know Kaboom on Atari and stuff like that. Yeah, I think this kind of falls into that category too. But yeah, I always liked Wild Gunman, and again, it's a game with a deceptively interesting history. With the whole thing about it actually being a remake of an electromechanical arcade game and all of that. So yeah, it's a good one. I like my Wild Gunman every once in a while. So yeah, that's what I have for this time. I'll do a few other one-offs before we start any other long form. Again, my next long form will be Final Fantasy IV, probably the PlayStation 1 version. But we'll do some other stuff before we get to that. Next, probably I'm thinking will be Panic Restaurant, which is the rarest game that I actually own. Um, but I think that'll be a fun one to showcase. And again, because it is very, very rare, it may be a game that not everyone's seen, so you'll get to check it out that way. And I've never finished it, so you know, maybe I'll get lucky and actually beat it on camera. So yeah, probably Panic Restaurant will be next. I don't know what else I want to do for Final Fantasy IV. Probably something. Anyway, I also have a new drink review up, so check that out if you haven't already. Hit like and subscribe, ring the notification bell. We'll see you again for DanPlays with something else different. Again, probably Panic Restaurant next time. So for now, have a good one.